Welcome back, family vloggers. If you saw my previous video essay, you know that we covered the secret life of Mormon wives, and today we're covering family vloggers. Or should I say, one family in particular, Cam&Fam. Quick disclaimer, I know Cam's pronouns aren't they, them, but until we get to that point of their transition, I will be referring to them as she, her for timeline purposes. Cameron Turner created her YouTube channel in 2010 but started posting when she was 16 and pregnant with the couple's first daughter, Colette. Her first video that blew up was a pregnant teen day in the life. This was Colette's first introduction to the internet, and she wasn't even born yet. At this point, Cam was living in Florida, and her baby's dad, Landon, was in Texas, where she had previously moved from months prior. The pair would continue long distance until Landon got out of school and came to live with Cam. The pair would later move into their own apartment and get engaged. After this, they would also move back to Texas. The pair got married in June of 2019, and then October of the same year, they found out they were pregnant with their second child, a little girl. May of 2020, they announced the arrival of their second daughter, Delilah. Then in August of the same year, Cam announced Landon had taken his own life and passed away. Obviously, this is a big chunk of the Cam&Fam lore, but this is not all of it, so that is why today we are talking about Cam&Fam. Cam&Fam consists of 4 people: Cam the mom, Landon the dad, and the 2 daughters, Colette and Delilah. As a lot of us know, there's a lot of controversy surrounding family vloggers for a handful of reasons, but a main one is child exploitation. Colette, Cam and Landon's oldest daughter, has had her fair share of exploitation. Everything from being featured in a thumbnail naked with nothing covering her bits except an emoji, to being in the hospital battling pneumonia. That's not to say Delilah hasn't had the same treatment, because she has. Especially now that they're older, they're still often in these videos. Another thing I wanted to touch on is the exploitation of her husband's death. As I mentioned, in August of 2020, Landon passed away. She posted a video and it got 13 million views. In this video, she aired out his issues and what led him to this point. Not only that, she would later come out with evidence that he was both physically and mentally abusive.
What? What?
To this day, she still continues to market off of it, doing birthday tributes to him and banking off of her children's trauma. It's the little things. Another thing I wanted to talk about is her drug use. From my understanding, she was using medical marijuana for anxiety, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. The issue is she would get super intoxicated while taking care of her kids, and there's really no need for that. She was also high on TikTok multiple times and made numerous posts trying to defend her actions when there's no excuse. I couldn't find any proof of that, but I have seen many Reddit users confirm this behavior on different forums. Leading me to the next topic: they, them. Cam has undergone a lot of changes since Landon has died. It started with the boyfriends. Then they came out. Now they're non-binary and have 2 boyfriends. A lot of people are super confused by these changes because there's kids involved, like very young kids. Once again, these kids My bad, I lost my pacing. Once again, these kids have gone through a lot and have been introduced to probably a handful of men, and now they're introducing their kids to two young men and making these two men permanent staples in their lives, allegedly. When it came out that Cam had two partners, obviously people were not eating it up. As you could imagine, Cam was already getting their fair share of hate from being trans, but people also hate that Cam has introduced these two new people to their family dynamic. I don't really have anything else to say, so I'm really going to let the clips speak for themselves. And you know what? You guys could be the judge. Because there's 2, 4, 6, 8 clips here that. Then clips, I tell you what. Sit back and relax, shoddy. Buckle up.
I got a lot of questions on this TikTok about my boyfriends, and I thought I'd answer the most common question, which is, how did we become a throuple? How did this all start? So I met Cody and Sean at an AJJ concert like 2 years ago almost. We had pretty much all just moved to Austin, and Cody DM'd me after we first met in person and asked to hang out again. And we just started hanging out more and more, and we had a lot in common. We'd hang out just the two of us, and sometimes we'd hang out with Sean as well. And I remember telling Cody, like, usually I hate my friends' boyfriends, but I really like Sean. He's really sweet to me, and I just always really admired their relationship. As time went on, me and Cody got really, really close. Like, we were best friends, hanging out every single day. And pretty much every weekend, all three of us would either like go to the farmer's market or go to the springs or hang out with the dogs. Like, we were just spending so much time together. And the three of us would always joke about being a throuple. Like, all three of us would be like holding hands in a row as we were crossing the street. Just like friendly, haha, like, look at us, we look like a throuple right now. But those jokes definitely started to kind of get to me, and I started thinking about like what that would be like. And then sometimes when we would all be hanging out and the two of them would be like acting like a couple, I would feel weird and jealous and like wish that I could be a part of it. Not that like, oh, I wish that was me, like, oh, I wish that was also me. But I felt very conflicting feelings. I knew that like, no, it's just a joke. They're not serious. And I really, really, really didn't want to ruin our friendship by saying something about it. So I kept those feelings in for a very long time, but the more I tried to ignore it, just was like the worse it got. And when they would make those kinds of jokes, it started to kind of hurt. It wasn't no longer like funny, ha. Like, part of me was like, okay, like maybe they really mean it, but the other part of me was like, I know they don't mean it, and now it's just like hurting my feelings. Yeah, I got to a point where I was like, I know that like nothing's gonna come of this, but I need to at least say how I feel so we can either put some boundaries in place, or maybe we just need like some distance, or like something's gotta give, something's gotta change. I can't keep just holding these feelings in. And I tried to tell them in person, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it, so I sent a really long text explaining how I felt. And I didn't get a response for like 6 hours. I knew they needed to talk. Eventually they'd get back to me. I knew it was a lot what I dropped on them, but yeah, I was very anxious waiting for a response. At like midnight, I get a response being like, let's talk in person tomorrow morning. I was like, okay. This is probably the last conversation I'm gonna have. Like, this is the end of the friendship. This is goodbye. We're gonna have one last conversation, and like, I don't think he can continue being friends with me knowing how I feel. Yeah, I was really heartbroken. And so we meet up in person and we talk. But he basically told me that while he does feel the same way, he's also just been in complete denial about those feelings and hasn't even like acknowledged them for himself, let alone like openly and outwardly with Sean. Yeah, he did feel the same way, and so did Sean. And it all just kind of fell into place. We all had a lot of very, very long conversations. But yeah, that day we started dating. None of us had ever been in a polyamorous relationship before. It's not something any of us were like seeking out or thought would be in our future. But it just happened that way. And after experiencing it being the three of us, we all realized like, oh, this is how it was meant to be all along with the three of us. We just all fit together so well. And there's definitely a lot of challenges, especially at first. But jealousy was never one of those challenges. Like, I just kept waiting to feel jealous over the two of them being together, spending time together. And I don't feel that way. None of us feel that way. And I get people saying like, how could that ever work? Like, jealousy would destroy that kind of relationship. And it's like, well, I agree. If any of us were jealous, that wouldn't be good. But like, that's just not how things are. We're not jealous. And they go on a date together and send me pictures and come home and tell me about the great time that they had. It just makes me happy. You know, it warms my heart. They look adorable. I love them both. They're both happy. I'm happy that they're happy. Everyone's happy. It all just makes so much sense for the three of us. I can't imagine it any other way. I got a lot of questions on this TikTok about my boyfriends.
It's so funny because I get comments very similar to this when I post one of my kids. When I post a video and it's like just one of my two kids, and they're like, so what about the other one? You just don't care about the other one? And I got a lot of heat for comparing my love for my two boyfriends to my love for my two kids. Like, obviously it's a very different kind of love that I experience for my daughters versus my partners. Like, of course, the love I feel towards my daughters is a very paternal kind of love. But yeah, like, I love my daughters equally. I don't have a favorite, but there's certain things about them that I love that are specific to them because they're two different people. There's different things about them that I love. And I would never think to like compare that love. And in a very similar way, That's how I feel about my partners. I love them for different reasons because they're different people, and we all love each other in a very similar way, but for different reasons. Me making a TikTok about the love I feel for one of them doesn't cancel out the love I feel for the other one. I just made the other one breakfast, just finished mine, served it to him in his office. When I showed my other boyfriend the TikTok I made about Cody, he said, "Oh, that's so sweet," and we moved on. Like, there wasn't any jealousy or weirdness or drama about it. It's so funny because I get comments very similar.
Honestly, this is what I get for being like secretive and sneaky, because now people think I'm dating my best friend's husband, which like I am, but I'm also dating my best friend. Like, I'm not just dating his husband, we're all dating, we love each other. Me and my best friend, we're dating. Me and my best friend's husband, we're also dating. All three of us, we're all together. We're a throuple. And I've been going around talking about like my boyfriend, my secret boyfriend. I'm like not gonna share any more details, but like I have a boyfriend. But there's like a little invisible S at the end. Boyfriends. My boyfriends. I have two of them. They're my boyfriends. And there's a number of reasons why it was kind of on the down low. I'm not like ashamed or embarrassed about like being polyamorous. I'll get back to that label and how I feel about it though. But yeah, I just knew people would be pretty mean about it, and they are being pretty mean about it and not understanding. And yeah, a lot of people just aren't going to understand. We are what you would call a closed triad, meaning that it's the three of us, we're all together, and we don't see anyone else like outside of our relationship. There's lots of different ways that people practice polyamory, and a lot of it like I don't identify with, and so that very broad label just feels like not a part of my identity. And for all three of us, this is the first time we've ever been in a relationship that's not monogamous. It's not something that any of us like sought out. It just kind of happened. Like, we all just kind of fell in love with each other. And it's really beautiful. Yes, they're married, but that doesn't mean I'm like a lower tier in our relationship. Them being married doesn't change anything as far as the way we all treat each other, the consideration we give each other. Things are as fair and equal and balanced as they possibly can be. Between three people, of course, there's no such thing as like perfect balance, but we just communicate a lot and take everyone's feelings into consideration with every decision we make. And yeah, loving two people at the same time who also love each other, like, it's just such a beautiful thing. There's just so much love going around. And you know, I've known the two of them for years, and they were like family to me before any of this happened. And yeah, now we just have a super strong relationship between the three of us. We go on individual dates once a week, each of like the different couples in the triangle, which is there's three different couples, three different dates. And of course we spend a lot of time with all three of us hanging out. And yeah, they're both so great to me and the kids. The kids have two more people in their lives that love them so much and are here to support and help. And I just feel so lucky to have them. Honestly, this is what I get for being like secretive and sneaky, because now people think I'm dating my best friend's husband, which like when it comes to being in a throuple, a lot of it is just normal relationship stuff. Like, we watch movies together, we hang out, we cuddle. It all feels very normal compared to monogamous relationships I've been in the past. But there are certain things that are just very special and specific to being in a relationship with three people. Like, for example, I feel like we have so many more cute couple photos because there's always a third person to take photos of the other couples. Like, my boyfriend took this picture of me and my boyfriend sleeping. Photos like that just wouldn't exist if there was only two of us. I will say though that we don't have very many good photos with all three of us, and we're always joking about adding a fourth person into this relationship because we need an extra one sometimes to take the photos. Another fun thing is that I get to tell stories twice. I'm the type of person that, like, something crazy happens to me, my day's been insane, you know, I want to yap about it, I want to talk to people. I usually will like call up all my friends and just say the same thing multiple times, like, you're not gonna believe what just happened to me. A lot of the times I get to go to both of my boyfriends separately and tell them the same story and get like a new reaction twice. Also, board games are a lot more fun when there's three people versus just two people, and in a lot of ways things are just much more efficient. Just like getting things done, doing chores, doing laundry. When there's three people to help out, things go by really fast. Another thing is that sometimes one of us will get outvoted on something, and so when two people versus one, you know, that's getting vetoed. A lot of the times it's about whether or not the fan stays on all night, and usually I get voted out on that one. I don't like when the fan is on. They do. I lose every time. There is a lot of taking turns, like when it comes to who's gonna sit in the backseat of the car or who's gonna sleep in the middle. We actually fight over who doesn't sleep in the middle because it gets really hot when you're sleeping between two people, hence them always wanting the fan to be on. A lot of times we compromise, and I'm like, okay, I'll be in the middle and we'll turn the fan on, and I don't mind the fan being on because I am pretty hot here sleeping in the middle. Another thing that's not so fun is having to split things three ways. Like, if we get a little sweet treat, you know, instead of like, all right, you have half and I have half, it's like, damn, we only all get 1/3 of this. Another thing that's great though is that I don't feel like I'm asking too much of one person or it's too overwhelming to put this load on my partner. When I'm having a bad day, there's two people there to comfort me, and maybe one of them will step away and like go do something that they need to do, and there's still someone there for me. In past relationships, I've kind of felt like I'm a lot for people. Like, I'm a lot, but I don't feel that way with them because like maybe I'm a lot for one person, but two people, you know, they can handle me. It's definitely pretty unconventional, and a lot of people just think it's weird and can't picture themselves in that kind of relationship. But it's actually really wholesome and sweet, and we all just love each other so much. At this point, it's kind of hard to imagine just being with one person, you know? When it comes to being in a
Yep, and that's it for me. I'm gonna sign off here. Hugs, kisses. See you later. Kumbaya, I don't know. I hope you enjoyed.